Your size will not matter to her.
Will I do all this for you? And she's like, wait, I just thought you were a friend. Like, it's the worst feeling ever. Being like, oh, I'm gonna make her regret losing me. Common question that men ask, does size really matter? So, Michelle, does size really matter?
Well, it depends on the woman.
Yeah.
And it depends on her beliefs
Yep.
about your size.
Oh, I like that, the beliefs. It
Yeah.
depends on the woman's beliefs.
Yeah, because some women, let's just say a woman really likes you, she's not going to care about your size. It really does matter what she feels about you. And if you don't really know her, and I mean, it has to do with a lot of things. Sometimes people need to be with somebody for sex, and so the size will matter, and that's all that will matter. Or if someone gets to know you and she's just crazy about you and she doesn't even care about how you look or how you, you know, what size you are, then you're gonna have this connection already, this sexual energy connection that the sexual discovery of your size will not matter to her. So that's really, I feel, at the core of everything. And then what matters also is, does size really matter to you? Do you like your size? Are you crazy about your size? Because if you don't enjoy how big you are or what shape you are, you know, sometimes clients share with me that they're really upset that their penis veers or deviates or is curvy. And so if you think about it, when you're making love, when you're having sex, you're gonna be bringing all those feelings about yourself into that whole activity, and it's not going to be as powerful, it's not going to be as passionate, because you don't have that self-love, that self-acceptance, which makes a woman go crazy. So you have what you have, and you're just going to trust that it is enough, you know. So there's a lot of worthiness issues that are a part of that. I've worked with clients also that their size is wonderful, but they don't believe they're big enough because they're really hard on themselves. And I think that this is all just a reflection of other things about how you feel about yourself.
Yeah. But I mean, there is men that have really small sizes, you know, and I don't think that, and I think that's something that needs to be addressed, because I think it's common. I think that, you know, I also do like that you were honest and you said it depends on the woman, you know, because there are women out there that just have very strong sex drives, and that's like their number one thing. And we can't shame them, we can't blame them, but there's also billions of people out there that are not like that too. So,
and there's so many things to do other than with your penis. So there's so much fun you can have other than just with your penis. Don't just depend on your size to be your everything. Yeah,
but I think, you know, I get that. It's easy to say don't just depend on your size, you know. It's because, like, just being in such a male dominant audience for a very long time, I know how my viewers really think about this stuff. And, you know, a lot of times we attach our manliness or our masculinity to the size of a penis, which honestly, like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm very happy you brought that up about, you know, it depends on the woman, because it really does. But also, I want to be really clear about this. You know, there's some women where they'll be like, it doesn't even matter. Size really doesn't matter. And it really doesn't. But this is the thing, guys. If it's very small and you don't know what you're doing sexually, and you bring in all that energy of insecurity and fear, and you don't adapt to how to please a woman, which we've made a video about on how to go down on a woman, how to have a full body orgasm we made, and then how to make her squirt we've even talked about. We've had all these videos to teach you guys how to do this. It doesn't matter, because you can give her a very good experience. And the experience, because remember what I talk about in my videos, emotional connection to a woman is how we make a decision if we feel safe with that man emotionally, physically now, and that is created by how you create this feeling of sexual energy between the two of us. So if you have a small penis, you probably will get rejected from time to time. But what really matters is how you perform with that, right? Because women, I know from experience, just from talking to women, and I'm sure you do too, they've been able to have orgasms with their husband, and they're probably like, yeah, but you know, he just really knows what he's doing. I've had conversations, and girls get very explicit, and I'm here to give you real advice, guys. Girls get just as explicit with each other that you probably do with your guy friends. And you know, I've had friends where they're like, you know, I was in this relationship with this guy, or I'm with my boyfriend. And, you know, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's not compared to what I was normally used to. And then I was like, he knew what the hell he was doing. And then we get into it. And it's about the experience that you're able to bring the woman. And you've got to let go of all of that negativity and all that shit that's out there, telling
that doesn't
men
raise the sexual energy.
Exactly, telling men that you're not worthy because of the size of your penis. It's like telling you that you're not worthy because you have curly hair.
Yeah, or if my breasts are too small.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
That's true. I like that one. Like your breasts are too small, and you embrace it. You learn to embrace it. You know, and there's so many women out there that come from that too, and that's how you can somewhat be relatable.
You can discover, you know, I have the attitude of, I'm going to believe that what I have, I'm just going to work with what I have. So if you don't have that attitude, you're just going to be depressed. So if you really want to have a good life, I mean,
sex life,
I can only say, I can help you out for sure with that, changing your mindset about what you have. But the truth is, from what I've learned about the laws of attraction, if you have a problem with yourself, you're going to keep attracting people that aren't totally accepting of yourself. So this is really, you just get an opportunity to not take it personally. If a woman that you really liked commented about your size, she's obviously not for you, and be grateful that you figured that one out. Because I can think specifically of a client that I taught him to lay on top of her. She's face down in bed, and he was laying on top of her, and he was breathing into his penis, and he was small size, and he is small size, and he was just getting more in touch with moving his sexual energy and feeling the arousal of him sliding his penis on her body and on her buttocks and her low back, and she actually, they began to have more orgasms, orgasmic pleasure, from him connecting more through his energy of his sexuality, getting aroused. Because regardless of the size of your penis, there's places on the shaft where everybody knows, you know, at the tip, how it's very stimulating to touch. So even gliding your back, over her back, over her leg, you know, you can slow down and just really focus on moving that energy, and she'll orgasm from that. You know, it doesn't just have to be from her entering, from you entering her. So if anything, that caused them to discover a different way of having sex where it's more energetic sex. And I mean, who doesn't want that, right? Yeah. And I don't think that would have happened probably for them if they didn't have that problem, which then later became an opportunity, and they've discovered Tantra.
Yeah, and that gives them better experience too.
Whole body
experience. Because like that's also another thing that not every man can offer her now. So now you're one up on your game, you know?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking when you were talking about that. And I'm sure like their actual intercourse sex life is probably more amazing, right? Than it was before.
And then I'm sure I haven't asked specifically that, but like I said, there's so much more to just, you know, entering the vagina and stimulating.
Which we've talked about.
You can use your tongue, you know, you can use your finger.
Yeah.
There's many different options.
So go check out how to have a full body orgasm video, because we talk about that on that video. And in today's video, something was really requested a lot in the comments for us to do a video about again. It's really you, because this is your expertise, you know, and I'm just going to chime in as well because I love to do that. But it's about premature ejaculation. A lot of men are asking like, really, like, how do I give and get an orgasm and wait that for the longest moment possible so I can make sure my woman is satisfied? Because a lot of men go into sex wanting to satisfy the one that they love or the woman that they're with. And we're going to do a bunch of videos about that next, and I'll put them up here on the cards. So let's get into like premature ejaculation. What is like one of the main components that you see? Let's talk about complaints from a man, and then let's go into giving them tips on how to overcome this.
Well, the first thing that happens is men get very nervous, and they ejaculate too soon. You know, they want to have fun and enjoy, and it's almost like he's got his own mind down there, and they just cannot control it. So the more you cannot control something, it makes you more nervous and anxious, and just makes it even worse. So that's something that's very common, and a lot of times it also invokes shame. You know, we take it personally, we think there's something wrong with us, and so we get into our head about that instead of having more compassion for ourselves, you know, for men. I just want to say it's really important to be not so hard on yourself about it. Instead, if you can look at premature ejaculation actually as an opportunity to learn how to be a more amazing lover and how to be just a rock star in bed, you can be like, yay, I'm so happy I have this, because then I can contact Michelle and, you know, learn some ways to be a more long-lasting lover, because it is possible. It's really up to you to believe, first and foremost, in yourself, and that you can learn something new, because that's really all it is.
Yeah. How about like when you see, what I see a lot too is men are complaining a lot about how they can't stop this from happening, because it happens to, maybe they've had, let's just say, to make it for easy for numbers sake, they'd have 3 sexual partners, and every single partner that they've had, they've premature ejaculated, so they don't want to have a sex life. Like they're ashamed to sleep with women, so they shut down in their insecurities and they can't push forward in relationships with women.
Yeah, and well, how we sex is how we everything. So I would wonder, are you holding shame, or are you hard on yourself? Are you judging yourself? Are you basically giving yourself a verdict? Or do you believe that you're flexible? Do you believe that you can learn something new? Because that really, a lot of us, we avoid. When we're stressed out and we're nervous or something's happened to us, for a lot of men it could be very traumatic, especially if a woman laughs at you, if you have a partner that doesn't have compassion for you, or if she gets mad at you, or if she says, you know, you're just using me.
Or you're not a man because you can't do this.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, gosh.
And especially 40-year-old men, they look, you know, so this is something that is very common. So how you actually perceive all that's happening to you is gonna make you either shut down or seek help. And I think the fact that it's a taboo topic, a lot of us just don't want to talk about it. That's why we're talking about it today. So that's the first step, is really being open to giving yourself a chance that you can change, you can shift, and to have a lot of compassion. Women just don't know any better a lot of times. They don't even know what's happening, or that even that is a term, premature ejaculation. A lot of women have no idea if they are surprised by what's happening to you. So I think it's really important to be patient, to have compassion for yourself, and then to seek help from people that actually know how to support you. Get the right help.
So what
is right here?
So yeah, but what is like one thing, I mean, a couple tips that you would give a client that you would be working with that this happens often to them?
Well,
like,
the first,
besides being compassionate and saying, like, I get that, and that's definitely something that they should do, because they have to release the shame of it, and because it also takes off the pressure.
Well, that's why I became a hypnotist and I study neurolinguistic programming, because a lot of it is mental. So we do have to address the mind, your mindset about your own sexuality. How do you feel about your penis? How do you feel about your performance? It is very important to address that. So it's not enough to just say, you know, the other thing I teach men is how to have a more expansive, sexual, body-aware experience with themselves, rather than just fixating on the pleasure that they're feeling from their penis. When you fixate on that, you're putting even more pressure. So you could actually then also learn more about orgasming through your prostate, and having a prostate-induced orgasm, whole body orgasm, so that you're not just fixated on the ejaculation orgasm, which orgasm happens first and then ejaculation. So it's really important for men to learn how to lean back, how to open their bodies if they're prematurely ejaculating, because they're going to be more nervous. So you just literally sitting with your legs open, soles of the feet together, knees wide apart, and stretching and expanding is going to create more of a relaxed body.
And practice this when they're alone, you're saying?
Yeah, there's tantric breathing exercises that I teach my clients that help them to slow down and to get more present in their body, because a lot of times they're getting nervous and then they're getting in their head about that. There's a disconnect. So if you want to expand the length of time, then you really want to also be more aware of your breathing and slowing down your breath, so that you can slow down your mind and you can slow down the energy that's wanting to move through you.
Yeah, and release right away. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so have a good relationship with your mindset, yourself,
And your breath.
Yeah. And a sexual relationship with yourself, like a
That
good
is
sex relationship with yourself.
non-judgmental,
Yeah.
not pressuring yourself.
Exactly. Those are good things. How about I want to address some questions that I know some of my viewers are probably asking. Like for a guy that often ejaculates pretty early on when he's having sex with a woman, there's a lot of people out there that say, stop like watching porno, stop masturbation if you're someone that ejaculates really quickly. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of research now on the negative side effects of porn, and it does change your neurochemistry and it wires you differently. So it does make you be more hyper arousable, when you're very stimulated. So I'm not sure how much that's going to be supporting you as slowing down, being more in your body, because when you're watching porn, you're visually stimulated and then you're stimulating your penis,
you forget about
right?
your body.
And then you're not really fixating on your body. So in a lot of these tantra exercises that I teach, your eyes are closed and you're going inside and you're feeling the energy of your sexuality internally. And a lot of us are fixating on our mind or imagining something, fantasizing. So it's actually not empowering you as a lover. And so then when you go have sex with a person, that person is going to feel the difference between a sensual man, a man who takes her woman and he feels his whole body,
with her,
and a man that's just being mental and from the waist down.
Totally.
It's a different feeling. It's not as alpha male,
Yeah, totally. I get what you mean.
I think you can feel me, right? With that.
I get it because I'm a woman, so I know what you're talking about. So this legit, real advice, guys.
She can feel you. She can feel what you've been doing.
All right, well, let's not tell them that. That's not taken. Anyway, so that's funny that we just made a joke about that, gosh. It's so funny because Michelle can make the most awkward moments for me feel comfortable, if you haven't noticed, because in the comments too, they're like, oh gosh, look how uncomfortable Apollonia is when she says this. And they're just, because my viewers kind of already know me so well, so it's funny.
When you're having sex, that is the most raw, real, vulnerable place you can be. So that's why I find it so interesting how, people say, oh, I just met this guy and we had sex that night and it was terrible. How many times is it going to be really amazing when you don't even know someone and there's always that initial. I don't know you.
Sex when you're connected.
I'm not sure how relaxed I could be with you.
Exactly.
So at least get to know the person a little bit. Ask her some questions.
Yeah, and a lot of men that I coach, we also talk about this sexually, like what intrigues them. Sometimes there's a lot of men out there that have found out with themselves that I can have a one night stand, but me as a man at the place where I'm at right now, I have better sex with a woman when I try to get to know her. And because I can connect on a most emotionally or spiritual level with her. And that speaks volumes to me because that also extends to the amount of work and self-discovery that you've done with yourself in order to do that. So if you're a guy that premature ejaculates often, don't look at it as a shameful thing because there's men that have been there before. And I've talked to these men, and they've overcome this because of the fact that they've studied their relationship with themselves and sexually. And I have a couple of clients. I actually have a lot of clients that suffer, and I call addiction a disease, and that's why I say suffer. They suffer from like pornography addictions, right? And addictions just in general, maybe drugs or sex or whatever the case may be. And I've noticed a lot of times, like if a client comes to me, he doesn't come to me because he has a pornography addiction, but he comes to me because he has addictive personality types, so he also gets addicted to love. And then I find out that he's working with a therapist because of pornography addiction. And the biggest thing out of all hundreds of clients that have had this that I've worked with was when they tell me, and I always ask them this one common question, have you stopped watching porno and stopped masturbating for a certain amount of time? And they say yes, and I ask them how long. Typically it's 30 to 60 days or more. And I ask them, how does it make you feel? And they say, Apollonia, I've never felt so powerful and in tune with my own body, and I can see how much pornography was just self-destructing my idea of sex with my partner, and sometimes that's the reason why they broke up in the first place. So I'm so happy that you mentioned that. I'm happy that I asked that question because it's a common question for my male viewers and men in general because this is something that is talked about, and I'm so honored to be able to have this channel for you guys where two women can come together and give you like real advice here on YouTube that's not just out there and saying 3 ways to make her wet and this is what you're due, which is not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
You know?
And remember, the harder your erection happens when your heart is on. So before you get your heart on, get your heart on.
I remember that.
And then those arteries are just going to be gushing down there, and you're going to be like, whoa! So it's so important to feel safe
with the right woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really do believe that when we can create a dynamic to make a woman regret leaving us, it's because we've become a better person overall in general in all aspects of our life. And I'm going to show you how in this video. If this is your first time visiting, I welcome you. Hello, my name is Apollonia Ponti. I'm the founder of ApolloniaPonti.com. And I'm a dating, relationship, and life coach for you men to master your attraction skills and really build and create the life overall that you want outside of your love, dating, and relationships, but really on general yourself. And so let's be honest, when someone leaves us, it is very validating to us when they're like, oh, wow, look at how far he's come, or look how far she's come, right? And they see us in a different light, right? I think the biggest thing that you can do if you're experiencing somebody that you want to try to get back or attract back, what happens here is when we create a space within us to get better at who we are, and this is self-worth, it is integrity and self-esteem. And I think that if we are at a point of our life that we know that this thing that we have done and created in our relationships haven't always been so well, and the relationship with this woman possibly wasn't the way that you wanted to go, or maybe you didn't even show up as your best self in this relationship, I would encourage you to really check in and self-examine exactly why you didn't show up as you in this relationship, and then create and the visual aspect as well of how would you have showed up in this relationship? How would you want this woman to perceive you? But also, how would you want to perceive yourself in these relationships with women? And so when we can do this, it really gives us an idea, right? Of, all right, who do I want? Who do I need to become? Because everything is already in you. So it's about self-worth, integrity, right? And integrity is not faking it and hiring or being around all these girls and being like, oh, I'm going to make her regret losing me, and I'm going to be all and showcase all these girls on Instagram, and I'm going to be out partying and doing all this. No, it's really about, how are you standing in your integrity? What are you doing? Maybe you're going out traveling. Maybe you're experiencing better relationships with friends. Maybe you're getting yourself back out there. Maybe you're losing the weight that you had to lose. Maybe you're going back into your hobbies and you're trying salsa dancing, or you're trying other things like race car driving, for example. I had a client just doing that the other day, he told me, and it was pretty amazing. And so what happens is when we start to contribute to ourselves and our own worth and our own self-esteem, what happens is we start to change. And a lot of times women and people can see you differently. It's still the same person, but energetically you look different. And so now you create an atmosphere where people start coming to you, and you become like this magnet in a way. And so there's a lot of things that people will do outside of this and trying to manipulate a situation, or trying to say, oh, I have to become this certain person, or I have to act this certain way. I have to act like this huge alpha man that has so many women, and I've got to kind of show her what's up, right? Well, yeah, that might work, but it might work for the wrong women, especially if you're looking for some type of quality relationship and really a beautiful woman that has standards for the man that she dates as well. And so with that said is, we need to stop faking it. You need to stop, faking like, oh, I have to act a certain way, and instead embody the way that you want to be. And so that starts with you. It starts with the personal work. It starts with examining why these behaviors possibly show up in these relationships that you have, that you don't want to have in the future relationships, and really being intentful in your life. It's purpose-driven. And also, how is your relationship? If you believe in a higher power, right? Do you have a relationship with that higher power, right? And also, too, I would really encourage you to look at all avenues of your life, meaning your relationships, the family relationships, friendships, your financial relationships, right? How are you in finance? How about career and purpose? How are you there? Community, physical, your fitness, and then your mental health. These are all the areas that I would really try for you to self-examine in. This is what we actually do in our coaching sessions, is we actually help you self-examine your life and what areas of your life do we need to focus on. And a lot of times we get into sessions, me and my coaches will get into sessions. A lot of times you come in with a problem that you think you have, and we started getting conversation and we're like, wow, this is what it really is. And it starts to blend together and you'd start to do the deeper work. And then at one point, a lot of times we get into this work and we get into coaching and we start to gravitate and women start to come to us and men start getting women. And now their issue is, who do I pick, right? Because when you start working from the inside out, this is how you make a woman regret leaving you. My biggest motto is, you have to create a life that is so great that anybody would be a fool to leave you. And not only a life, but you have to create a person that is so great that they would be a fool to leave you. And when I say that you have to create a person that would be so great that they'd be a fool to leave you, does not mean that you are a people pleaser, that you give gifts all the time, that you just give. But it means that you have standards, integrity, and worth for yourself. So you treat yourself with kindness and respect so others will too. This is literally the key to making someone regret basically losing you. And let's be honest, you probably won't even faze you eventually, because of the fact that if you do this work that I'm talking about, you will have women. And you will have women that see you differently than you ever have before. The 10 traits that attract women, and I'm going to get your results, guys. Now, it's really important to understand that the difference in attracting women than attracting men is completely different, right, men? You might be looking at a woman, and of course, there's different similarities possibly, but different things that you attract you to a woman. But I'm going to really give you the inside realness, and in my mind, and a lot of other women's mind, of what attracts a woman. Now, it's really important to understand these 10 traits. So let's get into number one. Number one is that you are purpose-driven. You have goals, you have ambitions, you have something that is bigger than you in your life that you desire and that you want and that drives you, that motivates you, that wakes you up in the morning and that keeps you active. No woman really wants a couch potato unless she's one herself. But I also do think that the reason why women are so attracted to a man that is purpose-driven is because it goes into number two. It shows that he is a leader, guys. Now, a man that can lead in his own life also naturally leads a woman into her femininity because she ends up feeling safe with him as well. And so what is so important in this leadership mentality is sometimes a lot of people think that I have to tell her what to do in order to lead her. No, the right leadership comes from within you and how you portray yourself to others and for herself. So for example, look at yourself and your friends. Are you sometimes more of a follower or a leader or right in the middle? Usually want to be right in the middle or a leader, right? So what's really important is these attributes in leadership give a woman the idea of an amazing relationship with you and also gives her the moment to be able to look up to you, to admire you. There is nothing much more attractive than admiring the man that you're with. Trust me, I know. Now, number three, if you can inherit this, the purpose-driven work, ambition, the goals, and actually being a leader, this now, oh my gosh, you'll be scoring women like crazy. Number three is pacing yourself, because there's something so valuable to a man that takes things slowly. And here's why. Because of the fact when you take things slowly, you set yourself apart from the men that want to just go into it right away, just because they see a pretty woman or a hot woman or just a woman that they like. So many men are so accustomed to just get answers and go, because You probably perform like this at work or in sports or in and really anything in life, right? But it doesn't actually contribute really well in relationships. And a lot of times we don't know this because we're never really taught this. So it's really important that you take things slowly, because not only does you stand out, but it also showcases that you are a high value man, because high value men do not just date anything. Let me repeat that. High value men do not just date anything. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Like that right there. I need to quote that. I need to Twitter that. Anyways, with that said, you've got to treat yourself like a high value man. So you have to know your standards, know your worth, and know your values. Because if you do, then you can take things slowly. Because you will not know a woman in the first 2 days. You will not know a woman in the first week. You will not know a woman in the first 2 weeks. You will not know a woman in 3 weeks. Must I go on? Right? So that's why it's really important to naturally take things slow, to actually see where this woman is in her life and if she can contribute to what it is that you want with her, which is significantly important because of the fact that if you do not do this, you will not only be dating blindly, but you will be being misled and you will find yourself chasing women constantly. Number 4 is you are opinionated in a good way. Sometimes we can become so passive in conversations because we don't have a really good relationship with constructive communication. And we looked at conflict as a bad thing, or we look at difference of opinion as this is going to create conflict. But here's the thing. In those moments is when you can really truly find out who you are more deeper, but also who this person is that you're dating. Because if we don't have our own opinions, what we're showing that other person is that we're just really going along with the flow. It really doesn't get that heightened sense of danger or fantasy, right? So let me, I know a lot of you are like, what danger? Here's the thing. It's not that a woman's going to be like, oh my God, I'm in danger zone. I'm in danger zone. Something's happening. No, what happens is when we become opinionated and you're good guy, you're not doing this to be manipulative. You're not doing this from a point of like, I need to put her down in a narcissist type of mind frame. What you're doing is you're just being opinionated. And now in that mind, and if a woman, she's like, oh, it's not like she's in danger, but her mind is reacting to, oh, wait, there's a difference. But also she feels emotionally safe with you, possibly, and physically safe with you. So in that moment, there's desire that's created because she feels safe, but there's also some friction happening as well. But also what happens in this moment, it showcases that you are strong in your demeanor and who you are. You're not insulting her. You're not doing anything wrong. The only thing you're doing is just sharing your opinion, and you're not doing it from a place of, I need to prove to her or I need to prove her wrong. You just politely just state your opinion. And so many men go wrong with this because they just think it's just easier to agree and move on, which is not always the case. Pick and choose your battles, of course. Number 5, you are decisive. Do you know how many times that I've heard my coaches complain about going on a date in their lives, and myself too, and they could not do it because the man was so indecisive? And so literally a woman, guys, I'm not kidding you, a woman will lose attraction before she goes on a date with you if you are not decisive. If you ask a woman, what do you want to do? No, what do you want to do? Oh my goodness, good luck. Right? So decisiveness is such a big quality that women look for. So you're not going to tell a woman to do. You can definitely give her options, but you're not going to plan a date and say, hey, would you like to get together? Sure. All right, Saturday. Or when would you like to get there? When? And it's just like this back and forth. No. Sometimes, especially in relationships, if you are a guy that's in a relationship, sometimes women just want you to be decisive and actually want you to take the lead because it's easier for us to step in our feminine. And that's what we are accustomed to. This is our natural inherited trait, is to be feminine at times. We also can be masculine, of course, and we should be. There's both yin and yang for both male and female. But the thing about this too is I always tell men, especially that are in relationships, if you're in a wife is asking you to be more decisive, or your girlfriend, in those moments that you're growing and trying to learn how to do it, always ask, are you sharing this because you need advice, or you're just getting off your chest, or do you need me to help you make a decision, right? And just checking in is really important. Now, when we go back to dating, it's really about really focusing, especially if you not live there, doing your research and being like, hey, I know of this cool lounge, this cool bar, I just yelped it. Would you like to go here? Do you know anything about it? Where she sees that you're putting in the effort to be decisive. So, so important. I remember I went on a date years ago with this guy, and he literally texted me at least 20 times about parking. Where could he park so we could walk to the restaurant? And then he asked me, where is free parking? I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? I was already turned off by the date and I couldn't get out. I literally wanted to cancel, but I couldn't do it because I just wanted to be nice, of course. And he never heard from me again. So with that said, it shows a lot of character when you're not decisive. Next is you're taking pride on the way that you look and you're very well put together. So a lot of times we don't have to be Mr. GQ. We don't have to be always so stylish, especially if style is not your forte, I should say. But it literally helps, guys. It does. And there's no excuses for it. I really encourage you to at least invest a little bit into your style, especially if this is not something that you're good at, because first impressions mean a lot. Think about it. Either you can be an interviewer or you can be the interviewee. The first thing that you look at when someone walks in is literally the outfit, their hair, if their smile, eye contact, everything, right? So what makes you think that this would be different from someone that you would want to let into your life, right? So it's really important to take pride in the way that we look and also kind of get put together. I love a channel. It is called Teaching Men's Fashion. I think he's great with style. I would really recommend that. Now, another thing too, in regards to taking pride in the way that you look, is just your fingernails. It's not all about clothing. Fingernails, your teeth. Have you washed your face, before you went on a date? I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of men just need to know this as well. And like, did you comb your hair, or did you just look like it's just a hot mess and you did nothing with it? Women want to see a little bit of effort. Oh my goodness. So one of my friends was like, oh my gosh, this guy looks so good. He had a nice chain on. He had a nice V-neck black top. His hair was just so gelled so nicely. And that was one of the reasons why she was so attracted to him in the first place, besides the conversations that they had, is because his first impression was really well. So because his first impression was really well, it heightened his chances of attraction with her. Number 7. Okay, so this one and the next one are probably the most important out of all of them. Number 7 is you are emotionally stable. Wow. Is this so important? There's 2 reasons why women look for a man that's emotionally stable. Number 1, I'll say it to him blue in my face. Every woman wants to feel like she is safe. Guys, understand that something, because you're not a woman. I want you to understand this. We have to think about, I'm always, when I'm walking my dog, looking behind me, especially if I'm downtown in my apartment, like you see behind me, I'm always looking at my surroundings when I'm by myself. Number 2 is I don't go out at night and walk by myself. I'll ask my husband or a friend to do it. Number 3 is the fact that I do not take my safety for granted. Because as a woman, I found myself in predicaments where I was not safe. And 9 out of 10 women that you will meet and know have been through situations like this or worse, possibly, that you are unheard of because they're not going to openly talk about it. But there's so much that goes on for women in feeling safe. And that's why it's so important when it comes to emotional stability. Because when a man is emotionally stable, it shows a balance of safeness emotionally as well. So when a woman feels like she has to cater to your emotions to get you to feel better about yourself, or for you to feel better about life constantly, and then what happens is when you dismiss your needs, you're actually not emotionally stable, because then in the long term, you can have passive aggressive behavior. So emotionally stability is something so important. And this is the reason why women look for it. Of course, we want to be physically safe, but emotionally safe is really important as well, because we are literally wired till the day we're born as women to be safe and watch our surroundings. It's completely different for men. It's completely different. Do you know how many times that I've found myself in situations and I've had to literally fight my way out of it, And so it's really important. And I say this very openly and vulnerable with you guys, is because A lot of men don't understand this. And it's not like something you will be understanding unless you find yourself here listening to me. That's why I do this for you guys, is because, oh my gosh, I can have stories for days, and that's just me. Imagine other women. So let's get into emotional stability also means that you know who you are as a person. So you're emotionally strong in who you are, and you don't give someone else your emotions. Next, number 8 is you know when to be vulnerable. All right, so a lot of men lose in not being vulnerable, guys. And the reason why we lose in not being vulnerable, and out of all of my years of coaching, I've coached over 5,000 men internationally from all over the world. And a lot of men think, oh, you can probably just coach needy men, blah, blah, blah. No, I would say 70% of my clients actually are men that get a lot of women, and actually men that are in the limelight, to be honest, but they don't know the balance of emotionally connecting, or when I can be vulnerable, or they're scared to be vulnerable because they've been trained the game way of getting women, and then they're left so unfulfilled. And so what happens here is knowing when to be vulnerable is so important. I'm going to give you these 2 things, guys. Vulnerability is meant to be shared to be informative. Vulnerability is not meant to be shared at your expense or someone else's expense. Example, let's say that you like the woman and you want to tell her you like her. Great. You're not coming from approval-seeking behavior. You're literally just being honest. But your intentions and your actions leading up to this have not been in approval-seeking behavior either. You just literally say, listen, I enjoy spending time with you. I really like you. Total different vibe. But how about if you're in approval-seeking behavior and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna get her to like me, so I'm gonna tell her I like her. So if I tell her I like her, then she's gonna like me, right? And now we're like in approval-seeking behavior, number 1, and then our energy behind how we say it. So I want you to know that I really like you. And the girl's gonna be like, okay, yeah, maybe you'll get a I like you too, but it's completely different, right? So owning that. And vulnerability has to be shared in some ways, because how do people connect, right? So this is something that I teach with my men, my clients, and my programs and my membership, everything. We literally tackle this and actually reinvent the wheel for high quality men. Next is he has a sense of humor. Oh my goodness, this is so important. I mean, everybody has different senses of humor. I would never encourage you to show your sense of humor by text. Always do it in the face-to-face, unless you guys have been dating for a little bit, because it can come off wrong by text. I've definitely seen that happen a lot. So you can have a sense of humor that's a dry sense of humor, a sarcastic sense of humor, but you want to really see if you guys are vibing. I would always say be very careful with sarcastic sense of humor, because that can get you in trouble in the beginning. Let that person really get to know you, but a sense of humor is so important. And how we have a sense of humor is literally by not taking ourselves so seriously. Think about it. When do you showcase humor? With your friends, because you're really not thinking about anything and you're comfortable around them, right? So the only way to get comfortable around women is get out there, first of all, and date women, and also test this on women that are friends and someone that you really are acquaintance with, possibly that is a woman as well. Next and final one is he is spontaneous and he is adventurous. One of the biggest things is that you can actually do things different and you don't get complacent. This gives thrill. This gives fire to your relationship. It increases your sexual desire for one another, and you guys can experience things together. And also with this, especially in the beginning, you do things that are light and fun. And one of the things that really keep a woman around is not only the emotional stability part and the leadership part and you being purpose, but also the spontaneity and the adventure that you guys have. And adventure does not always mean that you have to go rock climbing or skydiving or bungee jumping. No, adventures can be like you're going to a museum because the both of you wanted to do this for so long. It doesn't mean it has to be on a level of high all the time. It can be something low. It's just something that you're getting out of the house and you're planning and you're doing these things in order for you and her to really find yourself matching and also contributing to desire and also contributing to attraction. So if you follow these 10 traits, you'll really get to attract women, because it goes beyond just
going after a girl that you really, really like. It's more about embodying the traits that really get women thinking about you and desiring you.
I want to talk about charisma. Charisma equals power plus presence, which gives you comfort, which gives women, I should say, comfort, right? So power and presence is part of charisma. And if we adapt to power and presence, we will have comfort. And when women have comfort with you as a man, they're more likely to call you. They're more likely to come back to you. They're more likely to be in a relationship with you. And they're more likely to see you as a man that they want instead of just another guy out there. And so I'm going to show you how to have this in this video. So make sure you keep watching. So let's talk about power. Power is somebody that can become adaptable and likable to any surroundings that you're in, really. And what's really important to understand here is that how you become adaptable is by understanding that everything, every notion that you get involved with, and some are out of our control, you can adapt to. And that comes in the power of your presence, which we're going to talk about as well. But power is understanding that nothing that comes your way will take effect on you emotionally, meaning like you won't give up that control. Doesn't mean that you can't be disappointed. It doesn't mean that you can't be sad, but how you react to it is really the power mechanism of this. Now, in order to really embody power, and this also comes not only with understanding how to adapt to your surroundings and be more likable, but really opening up the dynamic of just talking to people, right? If we don't talk to people and if we don't get out of our element much, then we're going to become in a fearful state constantly. So we need to control these mindsets if we have them, and we've adapted to lower mindset mentalities of just staying home, watching Netflix, and maybe just eating all day and just not doing anything with our time. What is the biggest thing here is how we become more adaptable to our surroundings is do things that are out of your comfort zone, right? A lot of men will do yoga, right? Yoga is really nice to do because you can get conscious with your breath. And a lot of men don't have that breath. They don't feel their breath for a moment. And that's where ego comes in. That's where anger comes in. And that's where we're vibrating very low when we're not vibrating high. But power is in just being able to take a breath and feeling it through. This is so, so important. And also to improving and doing things like acting classes or improv to get you out of your element. This by far is a game changer. I've done it myself and it actually helped me with public speaking. I hate acting. I hate improv. Like I hate acting, not myself. Like it's the worst feeling ever. But let me tell you, it got me to get out of my comfort zone significantly. And I got better with just talking to random people, strangers in line, because I was very introverted growing up. And another thing too is kickboxing and martial arts helps. I know a lot of my clients, I have them do martial arts or kickboxing. This helps you embody confidence and a dynamic of your body, how you compose yourself, how you control your behaviors, how you stand, how you position yourself. And also practice power poses in the mirror. This is significant because power poses will also create the mindset for you to look at yourself and say, I am enough. I am powerful. And when we start to say this, we train our brain to create these emotions around it, which is good emotions, which is belief emotions. And then the last thing I want to say here is you uphold standards for yourself and you uphold standards for each other people, right? So you are powerful because people that you have relationships with know the principles that come with you, basically. So for example, my friends, my close friends, they know for sure that if they're around me, we all respect each other. There's no nonsense of talking about each other's back, no cattiness, none of that. We are straight to the point with each other. And if we have something to discuss, we tell each other to face. This is something that I've embodied in all of my friendships. And I've had these discussions when things didn't go right. And things didn't go right. And this is really important that people around you know the standards that you uphold within yourself. So then they can have the basically blueprint of how to treat you. Then we go into presence. Presence is you get rid of any imposter syndrome here, right? Presence is about you. A lot of times I hear men saying like, she just couldn't connect with me. And I remember every time that I said I couldn't connect with a guy or I just didn't feel it. It was because number one, I deeply wasn't attracted to him because of the fact that he just wasn't my type of guy because of XYZ, if he was doing wrong in attraction and maybe it wasn't a good fit. Or number two was I did like him and I did find him good looking and I did like his life and his qualities, but there was something that was off about him. And that's kind of what made me stand back a little bit because it was a feeling I got. And typically this comes from men kind of not living 100% who they are and embodying who they are. And women can feel this, and I talk about that a lot. And so you want to get rid of any imposter syndrome. And what that comes with is you're trying to act like someone else, so you're not authentic. So the way that we can do this is become authentic, get rid of any perfectionism. A lot of times when you thrive to be perfect, it doesn't let anybody actually relate to you. And that's the problem is people can't relate to someone who is striving to be perfect because it's an illusion and it's something that nobody can meet a standard for. So you've also basically done something to yourself that it won't let people connect with you because you're striving to be perfect, and that's an illusion. And that comes from sometimes codependent behavior, which I have in my codependent product that I talk about. And also too, it also comes from childhood of, maybe even being raised in an amazing household or in always having to uphold this composure of something. And then another thing is a comparison. I always say comparison is the root of all evil. And I always say comparison is the negative altercation of authenticity. Because when we compare ourselves to other people, we are comparing ourselves on a surface level. We don't know what people have been through in life. A lot of people have been through a lot of pain in order to become successful. A lot of people that are successful in life are the ones that had the courage to get up every day and do stuff that was uncomfortable and do things that were not the best feeling for them, but they knew that they had a message to spread, or they knew they had people that they can help, or they knew they had this amazing idea. And so in part of that is we need to understand that we have to reframe our thinking when it comes to our presence. Because if we think that we are XYZ and all these negative things here, like I'm not enough and she's not going to like me, I'm too short, I'm balding, I have white hair. If we think of all this superficial, then what's going to happen is our dialogue, our framing, our presence of ourself is going to be negatively reflected onto that woman that we're talking to. And then over here, if we can practice compassion and we can have this thing called cognitive reframing, meaning we're cognitive enough to reframe our thinking, right? I'm not enough. No, actually, Brian, you are enough. You need to stop telling yourself that you're not enough because that comes from this, and this. And now we're moving forward in life and I'm going to prove that I am enough. I'm going to get this girl. I'm going to get this 10. I am going to get the girl that actually embodies happiness with me and we build something together. I know I'm worth it and I'm going to get it. Now we start retraining our mind. And then we come from compassion as well, because if we come from compassion, then we don't have room to judge. And judgment is only a mirror of our behaviors. When we judge someone, it's because we see something in them that we don't like in ourselves. So what's so important is presence is the ultimate conclusion of connection, guys. And this is how you become more charismatic and charming. People out there is like, oh, say this one line, do this one thing. This will get you, this means you're a charming man. And it's about what you embody and who you are as a person. And this is not stuff that you can fake. This stuff takes work. And if you're willing to put in the work, you will get the result, trust me. And lastly, I want to talk about this is comfort comes into energy of what we're talking about right now. But the things that we don't want to forget about is in this approach, comfort is also in as a man from a woman's aspect and being pursued and seeing a man on the other side of it, and me liking a man or a woman liking a man is not only his great eye contact with us because he's present with us, but his idea to follow through. So he sticks to his word and he's a man of his word and he also follows through with it. So if you say you're going to plan a date on Friday, make sure you plan a date on Friday and not be skeptical and play these games and say, oh, I'm not going to call her because that means she's going to like me more. Don't wait 3 days to text a woman. Don't text her all the time, but don't think that there are specific rules because you embody your own presence. You embody your own power. So power plus presence equals comfort, and charisma equals presence and power. Let's get into a number one. Number one, let me first paraphrase this just a little bit. Hear me out. You want to make sure that you start with a friendship with a woman. Friendship is the best foundation of a relationship. But don't go into this, oh, what do you mean? I need to be her friend. I'm going to get friend zone. I'm not talking about this friend zone because I teach friend zone all the time and how to get out of it and so much more and why men fall in here. But here's what I mean by this is many times when we go into a courting or pursuing phase with a woman, I notice that men get so scared of being the friend, but yet focus so much on attracting her, getting her to like her, that they forget what they bring to the table and they're not comfortable with the underlying foundation, which is friendship. Till this day, I love my husband because he is also my best friend in some ways or another. There's some things that are different with my girl best friends and with my guy best friend, which is my husband, but a best friend means that I'm supported with him. We can talk through things. I know at the end of the day, the friendship is also romantic friendship, and I'm supported through this. So when I say start with friendship, it's because you need to figure out also too, if this is a woman that you would want to date. You can still flirt with her. You can still, show your intent, but you also want to form a bond. Do you guys get along? Will you guys get along? Will you guys trust her, right? Because friendships are still relationships. So you have to evolve in your relationship in order to feel some sense of comfort and security. And that is through friendships because romantic relationships, marriages comes in waves. And so when you don't have that strong bond and that foundation, that's what can break that up and break that loyalty, break the respect and trust. The way people trust each other is because they formulate a good bond. What makes us formulate a good bond? Friendship, relationships, right? So this is what I mean by it. I'm not saying just go into it by being a friend only. I want to be very clear with this. Number 2 is be real and upfront with her. Honest even when it hurts. Now, there's a difference between being honest because you're trying to negate something from happening or make something happen because you want it to be done or it's for your selfish needs and desires. But being real and upfront and honest comes from having the boundaries when something is happening that you don't like. Many times I've seen people become passive in relationships because they want to keep it even keel, and it continues to be a pattern. And so they deny their needs and they also dismiss their partners on a subconscious level, and it doesn't form a bond. Because how can someone trust and respect someone if they're not even honest with themselves or them? So even speaking up and being honest from time to time when it has to be, it could be really hard conversations, but to be honest, this really builds trust in relationships and loyalty and respect, because your partner will know that if something is going wrong and if they don't like what they see in front of them or something else has happened outside of the relationship, you will do your best to be honest and to push forward and confront that situation because you want the best for your relationship, your family, your children, or whatever the case may be. Women in relationships want to feel safe, want to be with someone that is also going to not only be honest with them, but be real and assertive and be upfront about things that are needing to happen either in life, in the relationship, to give the woman direction. And the same should be vice versa for men and women and women and men. Number 3 is make your intentions clear to her. This would be more in the dating process and the pursuing process. Many times kind of going with 1. You have to do 1 and 3 hand in hand. This is what really relates to building trust and respect is you can't just go in with the friendship card only when you're really ultimately wanting to be with this woman and you want to be with her, because then you become in this nice guy syndrome that I talk about, and then you're denying your needs and you actually become very manipulative. Nice guys aren't really nice guys. They're very manipulative as well because they're not clear with themselves, so they're not going to be clear with other people. So they're denying their intentions. They're not clear with her. And so what will happen is 4 months later, he has so many resentments towards her and anger, and all of a sudden he's like, well, I do all this for you. And she's like, wait, I just thought you were a friend. We never even did anything. And so this is where you have to make your intentions clear with a woman. You can develop a friendship, but make the intent clear. Call a date a date. Show her that you're interested in her. Show her that you're willing to invest in her by saying things like you're interested, commenting on the way maybe that she looks, flirting with her from time to time, taking her out on dates, pursuing her, talking about life and so much more, which I have plenty of videos on, and I'm not going to go into it here. But if you would like, I'll put one other one in the cards up here. Next, number 4 is be consistent with how you treat her. So women love to look at a man that is consistent. Women love especially when they're really interested in a man, the more consistent you are, the better. So a man of his word, it makes us more comfortable, especially a high quality woman, like a woman that really knows what she's after and what she wants from a man and is also appreciative of what a man brings to the relationship. And the same goes vice versa for him. When a man is consistent, what happens is it shows her that you will know how to treat her. Shows her you'll know how to stir up for the family. It shows her how you're going to be a devoted, maybe long-term boyfriend or husband, whatever the case may be. And so consistency is one of the biggest things that actually thrives on attraction for a woman that is ready for a relationship. Number 5 is, listen, I get when you have to tell little white lies because you don't want her to worry. Yeah, my ankle doesn't hurt anymore. And you're like, oh my God, it's killing me, but I don't want her to worry, right? Those little lies, like I get. But obviously, if something is going on with her health, we want our partner's help as much as possible. But here's the thing. It goes beyond that. What I'm saying is obviously you never want to lie in a relationship because this is where respect 1000% gets diminished like that, and it's hard to gain. It takes a lot of time to gain respect back. Loyalty and trust is broken instantly when that happens. And so what's really important is number 5 and number 2 go hand in hand, because if you don't practice, if you're someone that's very passive and likes to keep things even keel and happy and not make people mad, you're actually disempowering yourself, number 1, but you're actually making 2 things harder on yourself, because eventually you'll make them even more mad because you became so passive and you ended up lying in little ways that you didn't even discover or that you did because you're trying to make everything perfect. But yet when they find this all out, they get so upset at you, and then your response is, well, I was just trying to make you happy. That's just a dead end. And it's a dead end of trust, loyalty, and happiness and respect. So lying is one of the biggest reasons why so many relationships fail. And lying in ways where either you're trying to quote unquote protect your partner, but you need to be upfront with your partner. You have to understand that a woman and a person, not even a woman, gains respect for another person. A human gains respect for another person when they're willing to be honest with them, even if it's hard. Because now what you do to that other person is you give them a willingness to choose. And so when you give someone else a willingness to choose, they feel like they're not, quote unquote, being controlled, right? And so they can gain respect and trust for you because naturally, subconsciously on a conscious level, we will look at this and say, wow, this person I can trust, because he or she brought this to the table, and I am going to make the best decision for us or me. And now that person that just told me this, that was a hard discussion, not only can I see trust in them, but they're not trying to control or negate this relationship, and they trust that I'm going to make the best decision for this relationship. So it actually grows the bond a lot stronger. So passiveness actually is the worst thing that you can do in a relationship. Number 6 is be open to her. Just like a woman should be open to you. Many times I get men on the channel saying, why do you only give advice to men? Well, I'm only here for men. But if I was to give advice to a woman, I would say be open to a man. So the same thing as to you is be open to her. What openness means is like hearing her out, right? Women are very emotional creatures. I mean, women deal with emotions in different ways, but also too, like if she's having a hard day, if she's doing something wrong, yeah, you're going to be open with her. You're going to talk about it, but also to pick and choose the battles of those emotions that she's going through, right? So it's interesting. I was watching this reality show last night and I was like, ooh, that wasn't a good move for that girl. But her boyfriend was trying to resolve a conflict between her and her friends and try to put down the tone by just simply just going up to her and talking to her because they were all at a party and saying, you know, let's just say her name was Amber. Amber is a great girl and I'm happy it's her birthday and I just want you guys to be in good spirits together. I know she misses you as a friend and I hope you guys can get there someday. He was just trying to tame down the water and he ended up telling her and she's like, why aren't you ever on my side? You always do this. You're so not, what did she say? Oh, you're not faithful to me. And he's like, what in the world? How am I not faithful to you? When on the other hand, he's just trying to calm the waters in her best interest because he's just telling the other girl that, you know, that she really wants to mend the relationship and that she deserves the best and the friendship deserves the best. And the other girl agreed. But yet she was just so triggered in that moment and she came from emotions. Instead, she's like, well, I'm leaving my own birthday party. And he's like, fine. And he didn't say a word, right? So you have to sometimes be open to her emotions and hold the space, even when you know she's in the wrong. And the same goes vice versa, because on one of my videos, I had 21 best relationship tips. And one of them, this is where exactly what I mean by this, is where you're not perfect, she's not perfect, so be open to growing together, right? Relationships are not meant to be perfect, but it's about how and when you choose to show up and how the partner contributes and shows up and changes. And does she openly communicate? So then further on in the process, let's say a day or two later, they were able to talk about and she noticed her intentions and her actions and apologized, right? So this is where being open to her comes in. I hope that example helps. Number 7 is considerate. Be considerate of her, be considerate of others. This is in the beginning also too and forever in the relationship. Women gain respect for a man that is considerate about her family, about her friends, possibly about the things that she wants to accomplish in life, but also is not like one of those yes mans. What I mean is considers the outcome, the pros and the cons, and supports her through it. But the same should be for a woman. All of these things are the same thing you should ask for a woman to be for you as well if you're showing up for this. And I always say this in my videos. How to get a woman to think about you non-stop. This starts with the emotional connection that you were able to connect with her. Emotional connection does not mean that you get over emotional and talk about your deepest desires early on. The emotional connection means you show her that you are the guy that she wants. So the time you spend with her is very important to the attraction phase. Make this time fun, light, and make your presence known. So in this video is going to be more about how to get her to continue thinking about you once you are in that stage of spending time together and now you want her to think about you even more. Tip number 1, do not be predictable. This is the most important out of all of them. You want to show an imbalance so she knows that she still has to attract you, that she still has to do some work to get you. Meaning if you text her good morning or good night all the time, then don't do it too much anymore. See if she starts to do this. Also, don't respond too early to her text. Make her wait and get excited to see your name pop up on her phone. Tip number 2 is be mysterious. Let her wonder what you are doing. Do not post everything that you're doing every single second on Instagram or on Facebook, like what you're eating, who you're going out to dinner with, where you're at for happy hour. Instead, post less if you are active on social media. Also, being mysterious means temporarily disappearing. You don't want to disappear for too long, but disappear long enough where it gets you wondering what you are up to. So if it takes you a whole day to reply to her morning text, and then at night you finally text her back and say, I've had such a busy day. I hope your day was great and I'm going to head to bed as I have a long day tomorrow. I'll talk to you soon and good night. This message shows her she is not your priority, and women love this. They see you have a life that you love and it shows stability, which leads me into tip number 3. Tip 3 is do this a couple times. Not just once, but there are some dating coaches that will tell you to go off the radar for 3 days or 4 days or even 5 days. But let's be honest, if this woman is attractive and has her pick, she isn't going to be turned on by this because it just seems shady. You just have to pop in and out, but on your terms because you are the busy one. Keep this up for about 3 days. Once you start engaging in conversation again, she is going to be thinking, what are you really doing? She might think things like, does he have another girl? What is he doing that he is so invested in that he isn't giving me the time of day? This stands out from a lot of other men and what they're doing right now. Remember, you want to be less predictable during this time, which enhances her attraction towards you. I mean, most of the time, this girl might even say, when am I going to see you again? When you reach back out to her again. And this is where you want her to be. So tip number 4 is making the plans after being busy. Let me clarify a little bit of what I mean. You want to pop in here and there, but be less attentive during this 3 or 4 day time, meaning not replying to her texts a lot, not replying to her messages a lot, and just blowing her off because you're busy. Tip number 4 is making plans after being busy. When you start chatting with her again, just let her know that you've been busy with work, but also focus the conversations on what she's been up to and not always about you. You don't want to fully answer her questions because it brings more mystery to her. Once you do this, schedule something with her eventually and not right away. Why? The time that passes will get her excited to see you again. That time is critical to the attraction phase. Say something like this. Hey, I'm busy the next 2 days, but have some time on Friday night. Would you like to grab a drink around 7? I encourage all of my clients to do this because you don't want to become that text messaging buddy. Make sure your text messages are simple, to the point, and close-ended most of the times. By not making yourself so available will give her enough time to miss you and want to see you again. This is how you stick out in her mind. If a woman is not reciprocating any of this, then she might not be interested.
7 signs of a high quality woman. If she does these things, she's definitely a high quality woman. Hi guys, my name is Apollonia Ponti. I'm a dating, relationship, and life coach, not only for you men to master your attraction skills in dating, but also to better your relationships and also to create the life of abundance that you want and that you deserve. Now, let's get into it right now. So sign number 1 is that she speaks her truth, guys. Now, a high quality woman speaks her truth and is very aligned with what she wants and doesn't hold back from being open about it. She doesn't hide it from you as well. So speaking your truth does not mean that she, emasculates a man or stands up for only her beliefs only in this way. But what I mean is speaking her truth means that she's clear and intentional and she knows what she wants. And the ways that you can identify this is actually, I want you to download my free ebook. It's called My 20 Question Manual to Get to Know a Woman's True Self. If you feel like you're dating a high quality woman or want to get better at dating high quality women, this is a manual that you can download for completely free. It'll be down below in the description box for you. So you can ask these questions on a 3rd or 4th date. Let's get into number 2. Number 2 is she lives out her desires and is not scared to hold them back. So she lives out what she wants. Maybe she's an entrepreneur. Maybe she likes to travel. Maybe she likes to help people. Maybe she's part of the community and does things. So she lives out her desires and she's not scared to hold them back because of fear or because she feels like she's not good enough. So she holds herself back from everything in life and she's not a victim anymore. She's probably learned a lot in life. And so she lives out her desires because she looks at life as abundance. Number 3 is she knows her values and what traits she looks for in a man. She's clear with what she wants from a man and she's clear with who she is as a person. So she looks for the specific traits in a man and she can also be vocal about it. When you date a woman that understands her values and the traits that she wants, you have a clearer picture of what she is, who she is, and also too, it makes the dating process so much easier. Number 4 is she refrains from pushing you into a relationship and likes to get to know you first. A high quality woman values pacing in a relationship and getting to know you. She does not fall for men that look for rushing into a relationship or pushing her into a relationship. She refrains from pushing you into marriage, relationship, or anything in this nature. She won't gaslight you. She won't love bomb you. What's really important here is that you understand too that you should be doing this with women as well. A high quality man, I should say, also refrains from pushing a woman into a relationship, and he explores the chance to get to know her. Now, number 5 is she knows how important communication is for both parties. Many times I've heard a lot of my clients say, my ex-girlfriend or this girl I'm dating, like she always shuts me down when I communicate, and I try to just kind of dissect how he's communicating with her. And many times what I've seen is like, when we don't have effective communication and we're not clear with our intents and what we want and what we're clear with what we want in our life and our relationships, it will be hard to communicate. But when we are clear, it's important that you find a partner that embraces communication and effective communication. A high quality woman will not only want effective communication from herself, but she'll look for it in a partner as well. Number 6 is she has healthy and strong boundaries and will look for a partner that does too. This is vital, guys. And I have a video about why boundaries attract women that I want you to watch next. And I'll put it up here in the cards and on the watch next playlist. But she's really wanting someone who has healthy and strong boundaries because this is what she's attracted to. And she will also look for a partner that will embrace this with herself and with you, because when she finds a partner that has healthy and strong boundaries as well, they know that they can have a solid foundation of building a life together and they're on the same page. And the next one, number 7, is she can sense when a man is an outcome-oriented man. A high-quality woman can sense when a man is outcome-oriented. Why? Because outcome-oriented comes from insecurities. If we are seeking validation because of her looks, if I can be with her, then this means I can get her. If I can sleep with her, that means that she will love me. If we're outcome oriented and instead of just enjoying the process, this type of woman will definitely be able to sense this. And bonus in all of this, which is really important, is she looks at conflict as resolution instead of running. This is huge. I've coached a lot of men with this, is, they try to resolve something and a woman will just run. Unless this happens a lot, maybe this conflict happened over and over and she gave you too many chances, but she empowers you to change on a minor level, but you continue to do this, then yeah, maybe running away would probably be the best bet right now because she hasn't seen change. But if you're dating a woman and she looks at conflict as confrontation and runs away from it, this is a bad sign. A high quality woman would not do this. She looks at conflict as a resolution. And instead, maybe she needs time to process and then talk about it, but she never runs away from the actual problem. I'm going to talk about red flags that can happen in the beginning of a relationship or in a relationship. And I encourage you, if any of these red flags are something that you're going through, to take this advice in this video. And if you need further advice and direction, to book a coaching session, because I know these can be very serious topics. Red flag number 1 is lies. If you find your partner in lies constantly, maybe hiding their phone, in saying white lies like where they were for dinner, or they went to a work meeting and then they truly didn't. If you caught them in lies, significant, even doesn't matter, significant or white lies, there is something in that relationship that does not mesh, right? So there's something that is not fitting. There's a reason why she's lying. Maybe that she's insecure about something in the relationship and within herself, or something is going on behind there, or it's something that she's just used to doing, which is a total red flag, because this leads into tip number 2, red flag number 2 is trust. And what happens here is when you don't have trust in a relationship, is when there's no relationship at all. This is what people have to understand, is they think that just because they're in a relationship, they have a relationship. But if you have no trust in a relationship, it's not a relationship. It's just really a friendship, or whatever we want to call it. It's not a true valued relationship of what you're looking for. Now, trust comes from a place where you just feel comfortable with your partner, where you can have your partner go out and you just trust them. You just trust what they're doing. There's nothing that they're doing that makes you
feel as though unsafe. You feel safe. Tip red flag number 3 is manipulation, is when they turn things against you to make it work for them. There's so many forms of narcissistic behavior and information that I've had and I've placed in a lot of my videos, and I'll put them up here in the cards if this is happening to you. I really encourage you to get clear on what it is about manipulation and how it affects you mentally and psychologically in a relationship. So manipulation can be in any form. It can be from a drastic measure of, if you leave me, I'll kill myself, or because of you staying with me, I'm a better person, and you feel as though that they need you. There's so many forms of manipulation that happen in relationships when it comes to finances, when it comes to love, when it comes to belittling each other. And even when I say love, it's like, I love you, but if you did this for me, you would be so much better. It's like they challenge you too. There's so many forms of unhealthy manipulation, and this is another red flag in a relationship. If there's more than 1 or 2 red flags that I'm mentioning in this video, honestly, it's time to book a coaching session with me. I see way too many unhealthy relationships, and my goal is for you men to have that healthy relationship. And I want you to understand that when you book a coaching session with me, it's not for you to book a session with me and I'm going to be like, you need to break up with her. No, I'm going to better align you with how to communicate with her so you can break this habit. Red flag number 4 is unhappiness. If you are truly unhappy with this person, that is a huge red flag. Maybe you're telling yourself, well, I am happy most of the time, but not all the time. Listen, relationships are not perfect, and they're not meant for you to be happy all of the time. But most of the time, you need to understand that you should be happy, right? And if you're more unhappy than anything else, then that is a clue. Red flag number 5 is your friends, your family, your parents, whatever. You hide them, and they just don't like them. They just don't like your partner. This is a huge red flag, because at the end of the day, most of the time, friends and family have their true intentions are for you. They want you to be happy, but they see things that we don't see when we are love and we are blinded and we don't have our headlights on. All right, I call them the honesty headlights. We don't have those on when we are in love and we infatuated with this person or we love this person.
Hi guys, and thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you're notified every time I post a new video. And also here I have a next video for you to watch all about attraction, dating, and to have a better relationship in regards to your dating life and attraction skills for you to master the art of attraction and get the woman that you desire. I'll see you in the next video, and remember, you are always loved. Bye for now.